Hey everyone, this is Brian Moore from PMsquare coming at you with a YouTube live stream. It's been a few months since I last met with you guys. We're going to be here today presenting PAW version 57 and version 58. And yeah, looking forward to diving into that new release with you. I'm going to check the viewers. Looks like we have quite a few people showing up so far. I know there's about a 6-second delay, but just checking in, making sure everybody can hear me okay. Looks like we have Patrick and Jordan from PMsquare, Nick and Martin coming at us from Germany and London. So some good international attendees. I don't have any replies of that audio is coming in. Can I get a confirmation before I dive right into it? All right. Hey, Siobhan, good to see you. And we have Nick and Paul and Kyle. Excellent. All righty. Well, thank you for joining us. Going to go ahead and get into some housekeeping items to kick us off. First off, we have YouTube channel. We are at 992 subscribers. With the people logged in today, that can put us over 1,000. I don't know what's going to happen. Bells, whistles might go off, alarms, but we're pretty excited about it. So please like and subscribe us on YouTube. Also over on the Genius Bar, or the PMsquare website, we have the Genius Bar. That is an ongoing feature that we offer, basically free consulting in little 15-minute increments. If you're stuck on anything, feel free to sign up with one of our experts and we can get you scheduled. Other than that, a couple disclaimers I'm going to get into of what we're about to see. We've been in the tool for about a couple weeks since the release on October 2nd. This is what we're about to present is what the experts at PMsquare have found out about the release thus far. We aren't the IBM experts, so hopefully we get it all right, but apologies if we miss any of the features. And also anything forward-looking that I mentioned today is merely rumor and conjecture based, so no forward-looking statements should be held to account. All right, so the new release. Let's see here. We have PAW 57 and PAW 58, which I just found out about a couple days ago. The 57 release is for local customers, and the 58 release, which comes out tomorrow evening, I believe, will be pushed out to cloud customers. Should have gotten a notification about that. And so you'll be able to adopt that release. You're not going to be forced into it, but you'll have the choice to adopt. And you'll look forward to that tomorrow. A little bit different on the cloud side is that, yeah, you're going to get to opt in, whereas if you're a local customer, you can install it on dev, but it's full boat. So once you've installed it, you're not going back. That's why you have a dev environment, test it out. And then when you're ready, you apply that release to production. On the cloud side, if you opt in, you can preview. So you can choose to preview the release, have your users check it out, see what they like, and then bounce back if you're not yet comfortable. And then, of course, they do have the full opt-in where once you upgrade your cloud instance, there's no going back at that point. Also should note that you can create content on the new release, save that new content on the new release, but then, of course, roll back if you like to and still access the content on the old release. You want to just make sure that you press save as on anything you're doing in the new release, because if you save one of your old release books, which we're calling Planning Analytics Workspace Classic, if you save a classic object or report into the new release, then it's going to get converted. So make sure you use save as so you don't fall into that trap there. All right, we've covered the release dates, local and cloud. We're going to refer to the old version as classic. And so, yeah, let's get to it. I'm going to catch up on my chat here. A lot of good hellos. I hope there's some folks that have subscribed. Might have put us over the 1,000 mark thus far. A little quiet on Pat's end, but quality's good, so I will try to speak up. I should mention that I have a new baby in the house since I saw you guys last, but everybody's out at the park today. I bribed the dog, so he should cooperate. Looking forward to some peace and quiet and giving you guys this great presentation. All right, so I'm going to switch screens over to a website, and I think this is a good kind of table of contents to go off of for the session today. And so we'll go ahead and go through a few of these and then jump into some demos and jump back as needed. So make sure you check out this website. Sorry, I have it blacked out, but I think you'll be able to navigate to it. Basically, just Google IBM Planning Analytics Workspace, what's new? And you'll come to this page if you're not already familiar with it. So learn from the experts. IBM's leaning on experts like the folks at PMsquare, as well as a lot of their internal team, to get a lot of content in about this release. Obviously, it's huge. The big new features that I'm sure you've read about, applications and plans, predictive forecasting, as well as a totally overhauled UI. So a lot going on here, so we want to make sure and get a lot of content out by a lot of different channels so that everybody can get up to speed with this release. The improved look and feel, you're going to see that throughout the presentation, and once you get into it, it will be very apparent that they definitely went in the direction of Cognos Analytics, and they're adopting that carbon kind of template, so a little bit more of a rough look to it and more professional, I think, so less bubbly. But yeah, they obviously looking a lot more like Cognos Analytics, and some of the features are a lot more like Cognos Analytics. Rumors out there that the products will start growing together as a business analytics offering, but that's just word around the campfire that we hear at the events. So still in the long-term horizon that those two products would become one. I'm going to skip down here, and we have ask for help in the cognitive learn pane. So they do have a question icon directly in PAW there that you can check the whole knowledge base and be able to search for help, as well as IBM resources directly there in PAW. Got a note from Patrick that the audio is a little low, so let's go ahead and try to crank that up a bit. And Patrick, I got it close to max. I'll go ahead and pump that up, and I'll try to speak louder. That's the best I can do live. All right, last one on the list. Considerations for upgrading to PAW 57. Some warnings that you're going to want to check out. There are some visualizations that will get distorted in the new release. So go ahead and read through all these little warning labels. Make sure you're ready for that release and that you've hedged accordingly. All right, Paul said it got a little better. Good. Okay, I think that is all the prep I have here. So next we're going to get into the demo. And first off, of course, applications and plans. So here it is coming at you. We should have the Knowledge Center here in the upper right, as mentioned, so we can do all sorts of search in IBM help articles. I was actually trying to click on where it says version 57. There it is, 2.0.57. And again, the cloud folks, you'll be on version 58. No version 58 for local that I'm aware of, because you've just upgraded a couple weeks ago, so we'll rest and be happy on this current release for a bit. So right on the home page here, we have four tiles across the top: applications and plans, reports and analysis, data and models, and administration. So we're really putting a lot of emphasis here on the new applications and plans. Applications and plans, if you haven't heard of it, is a revamped workflow. IBM had contributor, what was known as contributor or TM1 applications for the last 10 or so years since they were acquired by IBM, and Cognos was acquired by IBM, and kind of resulted in a Frankenstein product where they took the old Cognos planning and tried to merge in the contributor application with the TM1 technology. So it's kind of hit and miss. Not a lot of folks adopted it in my experience. And so now they've gone from clean slate, and in PAW, they're releasing applications and plans. So starting from the ground up, I'm assuming the integration will be much better, as obviously it's been built together and not tried to mesh two products together. So getting right into it, applications and plans. We also see from the home page that it has applications listed where we used to have our report content and our tiles. Now we just display application content. So we're leaning heavily in that direction that we want the end users to view this like a planning application where they would come in and just click right into one of their plans and get going on it. And so the overall concept here is that we can collect certain PAW objects or PAW reports, views, TM1 web sheets, all into an integrated kind of platform so that we can tee it up for our end users to come in and just follow a process. So it makes logical sense in the Office of Finance that they could work their way through a workflow step by step, also with submit and approve type buttons and time frames included as well. Now the main distinction between an application and plan is that approval and the date stamps on it. So that is only in the plans, whereas an application is just a collection of objects. The plans, you're going to have the ability to submit and approve and reject, I believe, and also having a date associated with each step. So that's a lot more direct, like, hey, end users, you need to work your way through in this particular order. Creation, very, very straightforward. Just create an application. You need to name it. So live stream app. Once you name it, certain other parts open up. You can import your logo if you like. And we can add a description. Hello world. And from there, it is pretty free form. We can add any particular asset that we have out there in our PAW environment and build together what we'd call an application. So I'm going to go ahead and add let's see here, reporting from the Bacon Conference. And ways you would build an application are probably including templates for headcount planning and revenue planning and CapEx, maybe some templates that allow your users to put in some assumptions or drivers to the planning process, and then of course a financial summary page where they can review their results at the end. That is basically all that goes into it. We can have the option to put in some announcements to the broader audience, so that helps in a little bit of communication through the PAW portal there. And of course, once we are complete, we can go ahead and open that up, and that would launch it on the main page for people to use. All right, so I'll jump back to the home page. If I were to refresh, I would see that new application. Okay. I will spare the steps in doing the same. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and do plans as well, because it does have the dates associated. So I'll try to speed our way through that. Plan, live stream plan, and same thing. You'd go ahead and add in your assets. You can assign groups. I should note that the group assignments or the security on the plans and applications is PAW based only. So whatever groups you've set up in PAW is going to apply. All the TM1 object security is on its own. So that needs to be maintained per whatever objects you're touching, as in if you're touching cubes or dimensions or certain departments, or if you have element level security, all that security needs to be dialed in properly for your users to be able to access that content as they normally would. So assign groups here only applies to PAW-based security. Here's where we can put in dates for each step. So I have a due date. It's helpful to drive the planning cycle and make sure that we get our users on task. So let's go ahead and set this up as due a week from Friday, 2 weeks from Friday. November already. 2020 can't come to an end soon enough, right? All right, all set there, and we'll go ahead and open that one up. And so from there, I get a little day counter. That's kind of nice as well. And back to the home page. If I refresh, I will see that new plan. Now, something to note with plans and applications, the difference being is applications can be converted to plans. And likewise, actually, you can convert a plan to an application. I don't really know why you would, but I see that converting an application to a plan makes sense. Say you have a monthly forecasting cycle. Well, you can build the forecasting cycle as an application, and then you can convert and save as a plan for each month so that you can create a fresh workflow for your monthly plan so that users can work through that particular forecast. And then once that's completed out, you'd go back to your application, convert a fresh copy of a plan, and update all the date information, change the assignments if you need to, and then go ahead and launch that as a plan. So applications and plans, small distinction there, but good to leverage applications, what you've already built, and then go ahead and relaunch as plans each time. All right, I'll try to catch up with my comments here. I think Ryan's a lot better than this, but I'm learning. And SJ says Paul worries him. Yep, I understand that. All right. Keep on going. Next, so is the old PAW book the same as an app? The old PAW book. Yes and no. Well, no, not really. The PAW book, we still have those, and we'll get into those. So a book is just a multi-tabbed, similar to an Excel workbook. We have a multi-tabbed template where you can add all sorts of content. But your application would consist of multiple books. So we'd want several books to guide us through a complete planning process. If you had a small planning process that only consisted of a couple different templates, yeah, you could probably accomplish all of that in a book itself. But for a larger audience and for a larger planning process, that's where applications would come into play. Good question. All right, I think I covered applications and plans, and I will announce, just to hold my feet to the fire, there will be subsequent PA tutorials coming out on each of these main topics, the applications and plans, the predictive forecasting, and we've already got a video in the works here for just a main introduction. So going to have a lot of content out there on YouTube based on this release. Moving right along, let's go over to administration. That's an easy one. And so we've just kind of revamped the look and feel here. Really like the databases, how we've reorganized that. And so I could just focus on each individual database, get a lot of details, nice tabbed out in terms of the details, the alerts, threads, and config. Config, of course, we love this in PAW. We don't have that janky text file anymore. We're able to update the config file via PAW administration. So that's been a great improvement for the product. And of course, this is where you'd access your logs as well. So we can download logs about each particular database, monitor the server health, stop and restart, and view the different threads, similar to the old TM1 top. So a lot you can do there in administration. Agents, just checking on the health of the PAA agent. One thing that was kind of hard to find when I first walked through is the downloads. So downloads is hidden way up here. Just that little button, and again, downloading in local allows you to download and upgrade your PAA agent. In cloud, this allows you to download the latest version of the Excel client. I almost said PAX, I caught myself. Planning Analytics for Excel, or PAFE for short. Okay, users and groups, not much changed here. So we can administer the users and groups for PAW-based security. Again, you do need to have TM1-based security as well on your PA server. Make sure that all of your users have access to the models and the objects on the TM1 server side. Lifecycle management's the same. Customizations is uploading fonts. Not sure if that was previously a feature or not, but obviously upload your custom fonts to fit your corporate palette, and features, the ability to turn on and turn off new features that are being released. So with 57, full boat, you got all the features. There wasn't anything you could toggle on and off. But in the future, there'll probably be some features that you can test out and decide whether they're right for you or not. And that gets us through administration. So we will click it back to the home screen. Got a question from Kevin D. What alerts are available on the servers? Alerts apply to performance settings. So if you had a server cranking at 95%, or you used up most of the available RAM, you'd want to get an alert about that. And so that is a nice feature where you can configure custom settings for how much you're going to allow your server to crank. There's one other neat thing I hadn't noticed before, and I forget where it was, but let's see. This is the test email button. Where is it hiding? Nope, not seeing it. Okay, well, under one of these tabs, you're going to see a test email. I believe that is to test out the email configure or integrated email functionality and email alerts. I haven't seen that button before, so that's really neat that you're able to test it. There is some IBM help articles out there that help you get that email alert configuration. Really nice to have email alerts configured with your TI processes. So that if anything runs astray, you'd get an alert via email and be able to tend to that quickly. So that's a pretty popular feature. Okay, back to the home screen, and now we're going to dive into the middle here, and we have reports and analysis and data and models. Not sure if I'm missing something, but there doesn't appear to be too much of a difference between these two. Maybe it's designed this way just to segregate out between the modeler user versus the analyst user, but functionality is almost 100% the same in my experience thus far. I can open up the TI editor and the rules editor in reports and analysis. I can open up reports in data and models. So both of them build workbooks like we're used to, but the one key differentiator, you cannot create a new report in data and models. So if I go to data and models, for instance, I will see all the content that was created, and that gets me a fresh modeling book, but I'm blank template, so I didn't specify a template in that at all. So I don't have any of the PowerPoint kind of cutout template like I'm used to. It just went straight into a default. Whereas jump back to home, and this time we'll try reports and analysis, and it has me pick out an existing report from all the existing content, or in the upper right I can hit the blue button to create. Also worth noting, on the left-hand pane throughout the whole experience, I see that I have the ability to access the shared folder, the personal folder. If I'm an administrator, I can see everybody else's folder. So IBM really gave us easy access throughout the whole experience to whatever content is out there. Okay, so let's go ahead and create. And we'll go with a book from template. And I'm going to try the blank. Of course, all these existing templates put a fence around the content we're creating, which helps with scrolling issues for your users. If you don't use a template, then it's possible that they will have to scroll to the right or scroll down. We do have somewhat of a responsibility as web designers when we build PAW content, because we want a good guided user experience where they don't have to browse around and use the scroll bar. That can be difficult for navigation. So if you can pack it all in one screen, that's great. And on that note, might as well jump right into it. The layout positioning, that is, page size, is a new feature there. And so one of the big bugaboos is that people have created content on, say, their laptop screen, and then their manager goes and looks at it on a big screen or a 4K or a different monitor size, and then all the content gets all distorted. So IBM's addressed that and allowed us to choose different resolution settings so that we can have a consistent experience as to what the author built and what the end user gets to see. So that's a neat feature there. All right, what else do we notice right away? Properties and fields. So properties we're pretty used to. Those are similar as before. Every object has a property, every widget, or just the overall screen has a property. So different properties depending on what you have highlighted. Close that up there. And now we have the fields properties. Well, it says fields, but fields properties. And that's referring to different settings associated with visualizations. So if you're highlighted on an exploration, then that's not going to apply. I'm going to jump over to reporting. So I have a pre-baked cake here. And so yeah, just to illustrate that, if I highlight my exploration, widget is an exploration, so buzz off. So we'll turn that one off and highlight my visualization, and now I have tons of choices there. Now, if we're a Cognos Analytics user, we're pretty comfortable with this new fields. This looks a lot more like Cognos Analytics in the way we're able to fully customize our visualization. So it's going to take some getting used to work your way through how to appropriately select the dimensions that go into the x-axis, the y-axis, colors, and different customizations there. And that changes with every visualization you choose. You see we have down at the bottom the filters, so that gives us the ability to toggle out the rows and columns in our visualization without having to dive back to exploration like we're used to doing. I'll close that up. We have the, let's see, am I authoring? Yes. Still have the ability to maximize, so that gets us into full screen. I think that was a recent release, so that can be helpful. But if we're down here in exploration, we can also maximize. So if I'm running out of space on the right, I do have the ability to blow that out and get additional access to that particular widget. Okay, let's see. And we're in authoring now, so I think we can jump into that and see that our left-hand pane has grown, our little left-hand ribbon. And so we have a few more buttons here as opposed to just the content tree. And it is very empty in the upper right. So I don't have my add view, add action button, add text, all those different buttons, icons that were up on the right, now listed down on the column. Pins have replaced collections. Other than that, they're identical. So just accept the name change because there's that really cool social media website with the pin icon that really popularized that concept. But functions the same as collections. You can add views or visualizations that you like or logos into your pinned objects, and then you're able to access them when you're building new content. I skipped over database there, but that's how we get to our PA content tree. And so that brings up our databases. And then just like before, we're able to expand and get into each individual server and all the TM1 model objects there in the tree. But for the most part, keep that collapsed just to give us more space. And then the ability to create a visualization from scratch. So we no longer have to start from an exploration. We can do it the Cognos Analytics style and pop out a visualization type and then just manually build it by dragging objects in. And so here I would then have to go to my PA databases and grab a cube and then just start popping in dimensions. And so let's say regions on the y-axis and periods on the x-axis. All right, didn't really have a pre-baked example there, but that gives you the total regions in a line chart, and then you can customize in the right-hand pane as fields is illuminated. So that's how the folks do it in Cognitive Analytics, and we could actually convert this back to an exploration if we like. But just having this capability to start from the visualization gives us a better idea of how to build some of these. That was kind of a mystery before, is in the old version where you start with an exploration and then you have to guess as to whether one of these visualizations is going to fit with the dimension orientation you've chosen. So now we actually get the template as to, oh, I picked a waterfall where this is what I need on my y-axis and on my x-axis to build that. So that can definitely be helpful. And I'll open up a fresh tab here. Last but certainly not least, we've packed in all our widgets into this last little icon on the bottom left. So we have the text box, the images, which we have to link to a website that hosts the image. I have media, link to web pages, and action buttons. We did get rid of view, was kind of extraneous, is duplicative, if that's a word. Redundant, that's the word I'm looking for. So we don't need new view. We've added all the shapes in one pane, so we don't have to scroll through 3 panes to get the shapes we want. I've added 4 new shapes: the chevron, the IBM eye, the skull, and the brain cloud from Joe versus the Volcano. Classic 80s movie. Is it a brain? Is it a cloud? All right, got a couple questions. Are there parameters on the action buttons? No. That has long been awaited and still forthcoming. So we do not have the ability to assign, to enter the text we want for our parameters on a TI process within PAW. So it needs to be pre-selected. End users can't put in what parameter selections they want on a process, but definitely in the works, and if we make enough noise, IBM's going to get on that. From Nick, have they removed the search for PA content? Example, show revenue by region for Q3 2020. That could be used as a starting point. Yes, they did eliminate that, I forget the specific label they had, but the kind of predictive search where you type in, I want a P&L by year for X regions. They did go away from that. Also deprecated is the chat feature. So chat window, I think it was in the upper right, didn't really adopt by too many folks, so they got rid of that as well. Believe that covers the look and feel for the most part. I was going to build out a visualization for you folks. And so to do that, let's delete. Oh, totally forgot about this. Love the blue box is gone. We get the icons straight over the top whenever we highlight a widget. So if I'm highlighted on this visualization, the icons pop up. If I'm not highlighted, the icons disappear. We don't have to open and close the blue box. Makes it a lot quicker and allows us to very quickly get into all those different icons. Some questions about the snap commands. Yes, the snap commands are still here, but there's the other, not the snap commands, but the other feature that was natural language based that went away. And let me follow up in the comments section after this recording. But yeah, if I'm highlighting an exploration, the snap commands are still up there. Nick, I hope that's what you're referring to. Okay, good. All right, all these features, gotta remember all the terminology. Let me see. I wanted to do a waterfall because that is I've been waiting a long time for that, and so why not show it to you folks now? So let's go into 24-hour retail, and we'll pop in the income statement cube and add a view. Close up my database, and here let's edit the accounts dim a little bit. Just want to do net profit, no statistics, no allocations, so I'll X out of those, apply and close. Something I'm having trouble with on the waterfall is that typically in TM1 we like to enter all our data as positive, and a waterfall works on negative values. So if I don't have negative values, makes my waterfall look a little strange. Here I've picked a template that didn't have the rails on it, so to correct that, I'm going to go ahead and create a new one with the rectangle rails. I can steal my content from the previous. Always good to plagiarize yourself. And then over in tab 4, still have the same thing, but this time I have my magical resizer, where I drag that on top and I get a nice resize. So as mentioned, all values are positive, and waterfall just goes up to a summed total. Doesn't make a lot of sense because we want to see those negatives shown against the positives. So revenue being positives, but then expenses being negatives to drag that value back down and get to your net total as opposed to addition. That covers it for the book and visualization improvements. I should mention, from what I've noticed, 25 visualizations on here. I believe the new ones are, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the new ones appear to be the bullet, the hierarchy. So there's bullet, there's hierarchy bubble, legacy map, it's over there, the Marimekko, which I had to Google, and that apparently is a good way to analyze your brands, kind of do a brand segmentation, see which brands are performing. Network, which is more of a Cognos Analytics visualization, and then of course our beloved waterfall. Okay. Save the best for last, did we? The predictive forecasting. So let's close out of visualizations, and I will open up predictive forecast. And predictive forecasting, for those not familiar, is the ability to use time series to project out a trend. And that trend can be based on seasonality and time-dependent factors, and just gives you an algorithm-based prediction going forward into the future. There's a lot of finance folks out there that are still just copying last year's historical and saying, hey, let's put 3% inflation in there and call it a day. Well, obviously we have a lot better tools available to us, so predictive-based forecasting, letting the algorithms and the statistics do the work for us, gives us the opportunity to get a much more accurate prediction, assuming we have robust historical data that doesn't contain a huge COVID splash right in the middle of it. So it'll be interesting how this predictive forecasting works out for the first few months here until we get somewhat back to a more normal business cycle. To demonstrate how to do a predictive forecast, all you have to do is get an exploration out there. I prefer to drill down and get down to detail a little bit. Otherwise, you're going to be going through a lot of different calculations, and it's going to spin for a long, long time. So the more specific you can get, the better. I'm going to highlight Trail Chef Water Bag, and we'll go ahead and hit this icon on the far, far right, which is the only new one in this whole pane, and that is the predictive forecast. Sorry to jump around, but before I forget, the one other feature here is the send to back, send to forward. So that is definitely different about this release. We used to have all the objects in our web sheet, our tab, had a number to them. So if you had 15 objects in here, they'd be numbered 1 through 15, and you'd select on a slider who goes in what order. Now they've totally simplified it, and it's either in the front or it's in the back. So from there, you've just got to kind of move your objects forward and backward to get them oriented the right way, because there isn't a lot of overlap in objects within PAW, because obviously we put a lot of content in here, so we need to determine who goes on top and who's hiding in the background. Back into our prediction, and so I have highlighted the Trail Chef Water Bag, and when I hit prediction, it pops out on the right-hand screen, and I see I can set up the forecast, and so we'll go ahead and choose a forecast period to start, and let's say January 2020, and we'll end it December 2020. And these fields go ahead and populate off of what you have on the columns. So you do want to have your time periods based on the columns, or located in the columns. And I believe it works with both a contiguous time period as well as a months and years dimension based setup. So if you had months and years in your columns, I believe it will still work. Okay. Other thing to note is if you have alternate hierarchies within your periods dimension. I know in my experience I've worked with year-to-date periods a lot, maybe some quarter-to-date periods, where your months get rolled up in 2 or 3 different ways. That really blows apart the predictive forecasting functionality. So you would need to save off a separate hierarchy. No big deal, you can just save off the hierarchy as the month level elements rolling straight into the yearly totals and ignore the rest of those calculated elements. So something I tripped up on that I got resolved. And again, just want to select one row. You see here in the forecast pane that it does tell you however many rows you have selected. The fewer the better when you're first getting started. Make sure that it doesn't spin for forever and ever. So I'll go ahead and run this preview on this prediction, and then I'll catch up with some comments. And we have Robert, does the MDX button still be activated for exploration? Can the MDX button still be activated for exploration? Not sure what you're asking, Robert. But in the subset editor, we still have the MDX, so that hasn't changed at all. But yeah, if you could be more specific, or we can follow up after. For Nick, I've seen some comments on IBM community about how users are struggling to get predicted forecasting feature to work. So I understand you need to have a continuous time dimension or it does not work. I have only tested on the continuous time dimension. The documentation says that it should work with the 2. So yeah, Nick, I'll have to get back to you on that. Or Rob, if you can comment on that. I know you work on your example models with 2 time dimensions. All right, so we see our prediction here, and accuracy in the upper right. I see that I have a medium accuracy. So this is dummy data in here, so I'm surprised I got a medium correlation, so that's good. But you know, if the data was just totally haphazard and random, obviously it wouldn't, the algorithm wouldn't work. So hopefully in your data sets, as they are live data sets, that they would have much stronger correlations. And what IBM's doing in the background is it's running 9 statistical algorithms, and it's choosing the ones that are the most accurate, or optimizing for the most accurate results. On the statistical details tab, we have all of the fancy stuff, the statistics and the stuff that your data science folks will really get a kick out of. So not probably doesn't mean too much to us finance folks, but the main ones we want to be looking for is the accuracy and the strength to trend. There is a page over on IBM, which I'll click over to, and so that is forecast statistical details. And so same with the what's new in 57, that'll navigate you to the forecasting feature, which you then be able to find all the specifics on all those different details if your data science folks want to really dial into it and see how it's working. Okay, some more comments. Robert, again, on exploration, you could see which MDX was used to produce the grid by clicking on the button. This button needs to be activated on the PAW config file. I have not tested that out, so Robert, you have to try that one out for us and let us know in the comments. Or we will be following up as well. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my preview, and if I go ahead and forecast, let's try this one, and we'll just press straight to forecast. So the preview writes to a sandbox behind the scenes, so no data has been committed, whereas the forecast goes straight through and posts that data. So when I run forecast, I also need to specify in the advanced tab where I'm going to put that data. So I'm in the actuals version, and so if I specify a location of where I'm going to save those predicted values, then I could push obviously the actual over to my forecast version. Other items of note on the advanced tab, we have the seasonality button. So auto detect is by default, which your data should have some seasonality to it. If it does not, you can specify what seasonality interval. So maybe your seasonality runs in 3-period increments instead of 12. So you have the ability to change that. Ignoring historical data can be helpful because if you have partial data loaded, say we're halfway through October and we have actuals coming in already, and those have been loaded to TM1, well, we're going to want to ignore those because that would really distort our prediction into the future if we used a partial month. So we have the ability to ignore, and then we have the ability to choose a confidence interval to select how wide that interval is going to be in terms of the confidence of the predicted values. Okay. Let me jog through my notes real quick. Bear with me. Yes, it does require 5 historical periods, but it prefers twice the amount of periods to the number being forecasted. So if you're going to forecast 12 months, you're going to want to have 24 historical to get the best amount of accuracy. Say there's an annual event that occurs. Well, if you don't have 24 months, you're not going to be able to see that annual event occur a couple times to really come into play on your prediction. More questions from Robert. How long will it last if you run the forecast on the total products? And will it forecast all the individual products? And the answer is yes. Yes, it will forecast the individual products. How long will it take? Let's find out. I believe this particular model took about 30 or 40 seconds, so that'll give me a nice pause. Some rumors and spec that have already been asked for that IBM's taken a look at is incorporating weather and market data. So this is a nice first step in terms of having time series forecasting and basing on statistics and historicals. But what really kicks it up a notch is getting external factors. There we go. So it went pretty quick, high confidence. And what we mean by external factors is not only do I base it on this particular product's past performance, but let's also look at either market data or weather data that might have an effect on how well that product sells. The ability to use the external data obviously can dramatically improve accuracy depending on that correlation. So that's when we get into just a fully fledged data science project, and hopefully we can see some of that directly in PA in the future. Not sure what that'll look like, but that would really continue to improve the forecasting accuracy there. In addition, all this is manual, as we said. See in the demo here, so we have to click through each of these rows and run the predictions and commit them to the versions. So in the future, possibly having a TI run the whole prediction in the background, especially if it can take hours or long periods of time, we can just run that overnight and just have it automatically run a prediction for us. So we show up in the morning and see what the entire product line prediction looks like. So that would be a nice to have feature in the future that's being talked about. That covers forecasting. Another question from Ricky Riley. How you doing, Ricky? Can you download the resulting model parameters or just the results? Let's see. I believe just the results at this point. So, and I'm not sure which model parameters you're referring to, if you're referring to all the statistics and the fancy values. Model stats tab. Let's give it a shot. Save upper and lower bound. Back on the first one, save statistical details as comments. There is a limitation on saving statistical details. I think it tops out around 10 particular rows. So can't do too much in terms of saving the stat details. over to Robert. Will it be available through the PAW API, which already exists? The forecasting feature is all in the grid as far as I'm aware. So being able to access it through the API could be in the future, but everything we've seen in demos and the documentation is you have to be straight here in the interface to be able to use it. All right, thank you for all the questions, everyone. I believe that covers everything. And any final questions, feel free and reach out. Kind of curious to check out our YouTube subscription, see if we had any effect here. So I'll go ahead and recycle that. $9.95, we did get 3 of you. Okay, who's going to be the 1,000th? Look forward to that. All right, that goes ahead and that wraps it up for us today on the first look at Planning Analytics Workspace 57 for local customers, 58 for cloud customers. One more link for you, coming to us from Tracy Pepe, is a full article on the new cloud experience, what you need to know. I thinking she emailed this to you. She mentioned that this was sent out via email to all cloud customers. If not, we'll go ahead and link it in the notes to this video. And that's all we got for you today. Thanks everybody for joining us. Looking forward to the next one. Please like and subscribe us on YouTube. Check out my PA tutorials. I'm trying to get out every week, so tons of new content there. Relevant content as new features are discovered. I go ahead and give a 5-10 minute unscripted walkthrough of what I see and try to keep you up to speed on the latest and greatest. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.